About the employer-sponsored migration, what are the pathways and the critical areas that you would like to discuss?
Yeah, Australia has declared a skill shortage. It's been accepted by the businesses, the chambers of commerce, and both sides of politics. The
Right.
Liberal Party, Labour Party, and all politics have accepted. The government, opposition, they all accepted that Australia has a skill shortage. Therefore, Australian government is supporting employer-sponsored migration program more than ever. So the
Right.
visas are granted quickly. And however, when you wish to apply for a visa with an Australian employer nomination sponsorship, there are different categories, different pathways. The most common visa is a subclass 482. The 482 give you a work permit. There are two type of occupation list. If your occupation list is on the medium term, that means that your occupation is in demand, then you certainly get a 4-year visa, 482. And that visa will
Right.
lead to permanent visa called subclass 186. And if your occupation is not much in demand, then you fall into short-term list. That you get a 2-year work permit, can be extended, but you are unable to apply for subclass 186. Then you need to have a regional employer to sponsor you for subclass 494. So the employer-sponsored pathways are available for applicants to apply with a job offer and employer nomination. It's available for Australian employers to attract people to fill the skill shortage, that they can bring people to work in Australia.
If I may ask, what sort of skills are in demand? Because you know how Sri Lankans are, we are like always thinking of the easy way out. So what skills are in demand at the moment?
When it comes to the employer-sponsored pathways, the most common occupations are IT professionals
Right.
and the hospitality, chefs, cooks, pastry chefs, they are in demand. They're the most common occupations in demand in terms of employer sponsorship. In addition, could be automotive mechanic, engineer, or any other occupation can fit into the employer-sponsored program. But if
Right.
you're in this if you're certainly in these demand areas, then you get an opportunity to secure your visa quickly and then enter Australia rather quicker than any other skill migration pathway. It's quite popular.
Right. Do they also need to have any sort of paper qualifications, although they are skilled migrants?
If you wish to apply for employer-sponsored migration pathway, especially for a temporary work permit of subclass 482, the legislation can waive the prescribed qualification requirement.
Right.
And in lieu of the qualifications, the work experience can be recognized, and then the applicant can make the application with the solid, provable, genuine experience in their occupation. But always having a threshold qualification. Certain occupations require degree, certain occupations require diploma, and also English is a mandatory requirement unless you're holding a passport of unless you're holding an eligible passport. You must have the right English test result, then you can apply. Even without qualification, you can apply for a work permit. But if you want to apply for permanent visa under employer-sponsored pathway, then you need to obtain a skill assessment.
Right.
And mostly, to obtain a skill assessment, you must have a formal qualification, because the skill assessing bodies are assessing the qualification and the experience together. That's the common requirement. As Australian lawyers based out of Australia in Melbourne, we are able to deal with the Australian employer. We can negotiate the terms and the sponsorship requirement and educate your Australian employer in order to sponsor you. And we are there to support the Australian employers to secure their sponsorship approval and the nomination, where you'll be able to apply for your visa application successfully. So we're committed to support the employers and the applicants as experienced lawyers. Fairfields lawyers in Melbourne with 25 years experience, and AustraliaGateway in Colombo to deal with you as an applicant.